Hello, and welcome to the Art of Spiritual Sleep. I'm so glad you've joined us. We're
Yeah,
having such a good time
with
today.
happiness.
Exactly. And who are we? Well, I'm Wendy Rosenthal, and I am your co-host, along with Kabbalistic sleep and dream expert Mordechay Balas. Mordechay, let's see that
That's
big
me.
smile again.
So happy to be here today and to
We
share with you this slide.
very excited, as always, to be here. We always are really happy when we get to share and bring this incredible information to all of you. For those of you who may be joining us for the first time, first of all, welcome. The Art of Spiritual Sleep is a podcast where Mordecai explores the power of sleep and dreams through the lens and through the wisdom of the ancient wisdom of Kabbalah. Each week, we bring new concepts and insights to how you can improve your sleep and improve your dreams, bringing clarity to your day. You'll want to stick with us till the very end. As usual, we have two fantastic features that we have at the end of this episode. The first is the language of dreams, where Mordecai shares the sleep symbol of the week so that you are able to interpret your own dreams as well as maybe those around you. And something to sleep on, where Mordecai shares tips and meditations and exercises that you can do practically to enhance your sleep and dreams. You know, it's a mission. I'm reminded because Mordecai just said it before we came on air that the real purpose of this is to make sure that not only you, but each and every person in this world has the opportunity to sleep and dream better, because when they do, it really elevates the consciousness of the entire world, and that is something that would bring a lot of joy and happiness to a lot of people. So
Yes.
we're very happy you're here. Today's topic is, drumroll, take a deep breath. We've been exploring some physical things that you can do within your bedroom and with your body to really enhance your sleep and dreams. And we've been doing it under the backdrop of right now the four elements: fire, earth, water. And guess what we're doing today? That's why you're taking a deep breath. It's air. So let's
There.
jump in, Mordecai. Tell us.
So we covered already the first three elements, right? Through food, which is grounding, water, which is what we said about the shower, and personal hygiene, fire through the sage or the Moroccan herbs, which you can choose whatever you want to use for the cleanse, the preparation in the aspect of fire. And there's something interesting about the air. The air is the only element that is with you and does the work of cleansing, supporting you throughout the night. Like a shower, you're doing before you go to bed, let's say, right? You're doing it and then you go to bed. Food you're not eating while you sleep, right? Assuming, for most of us. And also the same goes with fire. Hopefully you're not lighting on the sage while you're asleep, because that would be very dangerous,
That would
right?
be a good
But
trick
the
too.
air is something that you're using throughout the whole process of your sleep. So, and I feel that today we're going to share and discover something very deep about sleep that is associated with the energy of air, but as I would say, even better ones than me have shared in the past, I better under promise, over deliver.
Deliver.
So there's many aspects to it. I mean, when I think about examples, let's say, one example that we can think about air, right? Like people going to the beach, or even the salt in the air gets into our body and it absorbs the mucus. It takes care of inflammation, the salt in the air. So the air is the conduit. The air is the conduit for cleansing, right?
Right.
I
So,
mean, sometimes even people say, I need fresh air. I need, and sometimes, people going out just for a walk. There's something about the air.
right. So what you're saying is that, well, besides the fact that if we don't have air, it's hard to survive. We need air.
Right, right.
It's pretty important for a lot of reasons that are just basic physiology. But what you're saying is that there's a lot more layered on it than just kind of mere existence. There's a
And it's,
lot
by the
that,
way, it's very much connected to the elements, what you just touched, the idea that without food, which is the earth element, a person can survive without food, let's say, I don't know, but days,
yeah,
even more than days,
yes,
if they just, let's say, drinking. The
yes,
next level is water, which is the water element. Without drinking, you can survive less time than without eating,
yes.
but still you can do it, let's say, I don't know, someone can do it for a few days. The next level is air. And that's, how much can a person hold without air? I don't know, maybe a few minutes, right?
Exactly.
So that's another level. And then the highest level is the light of the force of creation, which we cannot even stay in this body
Without.
even more than a second. Like we have to have it. So there's always those levels, but definitely you can see that air is like right after the light force of the creator.
Right. And I mean, what you're talking about, I'm assuming is, not only is it apropos or it connects to sleep. I mean, air, how you breathe every day. I mean, you've talked about breath and breathing,
Yeah,
how you breathe and what, where, what you're is as important as what you're breathing, right?
right. And people do like different experiments, right? Like they try to put, let's say, a diffuser with like certain essential oils in the room. And there are different oils, right? Like there are ones that relax you, there like different benefits. It doesn't have to be in the bedroom, but especially when you go to sleep and you inhale those essential oils, or let's say if the room is too dry and you put an humidifier, it's also making a difference. The quality of the air that you're breathing while you're asleep is making a direct difference on the quality of your sleep.
Okay, so just again to take a quick step back, what you're saying is that just like, you know, is cleansing in terms of our inside and out, and it's really important before you go to sleep, or it's highly recommended to take a shower, drink some water, like to really tap into that
Yes,
element because of what it does in terms of your aura and everything we talked about last week. What you're saying is that air has also an equally and maybe even more important um, level of cleansing and preparation and connection to how we sleep and the quality of our sleep.
right. Because beyond the physicality, which is, let's say, when you inhale, so you bring in oxygen to your whole body, right? Like to the bloodstream. And we know how important it is, right? And beyond even the fact that, which we'll touch later, even, like someone is stressed, so they tell you, right? They tell the individual, take a deep breath. Like the breath is supporting and relaxing. The wisdom of Kabbalah really gives us a beautiful understanding on the why behind things. So
Yeah, I was
one
gonna
of
say,
the,
like,
yes,
well, I was gonna say,
yeah,
why is it important for sleep in the sense that, look, we all go to sleep, we all, and God willing, you wake up in the morning, you're breathing in the middle of the night. Like it's
Yes.
a reflex. It's not something that, like if you're lying down and you're sleeping, it's not the same as when you're awake and you can say, okay, take a deep breath, and you go, and you take that and you breathe from your diaphragm or whatever you do. When you're asleep, you're asleep. You're
Right.
breathing automatically.
Right.
So what's the point? So what's the big connection?
So Kabbalistically, it's very, very interesting. The word neshima, which means breathing, has the same letters of the word neshama, which means soul, with an additional letter, yud. So that's one thing. So now we already understand that when we breathe, we're not just nourishing our body, we're actually nourishing our soul. And it's very interesting because we already shared in the past that when we go to sleep, 59 parts of our soul leave the physical body. And only 1 out of 60 parts is remaining in the body as a tracking device, right, for the soul to
Right.
return. So that breath that we are taking when we are asleep, the breathing that we do while we're asleep, is very special, by the way, breathing, which we'll get to it soon. But that breathing is nourishing that spark of soul. And on top of that, the word air in Hebrew, which means avir, same letters of the word light, or, again with an additional use. So when we breathe, we actually bring in light to our soul. When we breathe out, we take out any energy that doesn't serve us. So, and it's a process that happens automatically. We're not conscious most of the time about our breathing. If you are conscious about your breathing, automatically you elevate to a higher consciousness.
So what you're saying is that really the secret is hidden in the kind of the names of breath and soul, and that really our breathing, because we've said it before, we've talked about it, how our breathing is like almost a direct connection to our soul, right?
Right.
Our breath
And
is a direct connection.
The air is a physical manifestation of the light of the force of creation.
So that's big.
Yeah.
That's big. So it's important that, are you saying that it's important that during the day that we are taking care of our breathing and the quality of what we're breathing? I mean, obviously we walk outside, we don't have a whole lot of control over the air that we breathe because it's, a little out of
Yes.
our control. But are you saying that if we are taking more care of the quality of the air that we breathe to the extent that we can, and how we're breathing during the day, it will impact our sleep? Or are you just saying when you're asleep, how your physical space is, like worrying about air
So
quality and
yeah,
things
we
like
do
that?
want to divide it to 2 parts, right?
Okay.
During the day, I mean, it's crazy. There are people who relocate. They move to another place. Many times there are people that relocate, move to another place because of the air quality.
Yeah.
Today also, when you check the weather in the certain apps that give you the weather forecast, many of them give you air quality, humidity in the air. Humidity in the air also can be related. Again, I'm not a doctor. From what I understood, is that humidity in the air is also related directly to affecting health conditions of certain
Yeah.
individuals. Like dry air supports people with certain conditions,
Right.
and humidity might even create extra stress on the system. So that's like during the day. Yeah, as much as you can obviously control. There are people who find it difficult to be too much in the AC,
That's
like
me.
in air condition, and there are
Yeah.
people that can't get out because it's, let's say, too hot or too cold. So as much as you can control, but during the night sleep, which is the most important time to inhale the best air you can inhale, it's a different ball game because, first of all, physically you are more vulnerable. You're not conscious of everything that is happening. And energetically, we use the time that we are sleeping, and it's very, very powerful. We use the time that we are asleep, and we use the energy of the air to recharge our battery.
Mm.
And there's a whole explanation about it from Chinese medicine. We know it today that, let's say, when a person has stress or anxiety, there are certain breathing techniques. Even, just, you're having a stressful moment and you pause and you take a deep breath. Although automatically the body is already going into getting the signal of relaxing,
Calming down.
relief, calming
Yeah.
down, right?
Yeah.
So, and I've never been to different sessions that support people with their anxiety. I can only imagine from what I heard that this is really like there are certain breathing techniques, and we know it about ourselves, right? Just as you apply it to your life, that really reduce the stress level. So there's so much to it. Even as I mentioned before, in Chinese medicine, there's what is called the breath of the baby. So when a baby is born, they breathe through the diaphragm, which allows, if you notice, if you look at a baby, you see the belly going up and down, right? And that allows more oxygen to come into the body. And that every time we breathe through the diaphragm, it allows the body, it gives the body a signal, according to Chinese medicine, to heal. It's returning to the embryonic state. Because when we were embryos in our mother's womb, we received the oxygen through the belly, through the umbilical cord. And when the baby gets first time congestion, then they start to breathe through the lungs. And part of the healing in Chinese medicine is to teach people to start to breathe through the diaphragm, which is returning, restoration. It's just amazing.
Well, I want to say there's a couple, I mean, not just in Chinese medicine, there's a whole movement I've seen in Western medicine about understanding how much we don't breathe properly, right? So just like even how we take breaths as we're speaking and how much it deprives our body when we don't breathe properly. Sometimes people are, they hold their breath, they'll be thinking and then all of a sudden they don't even realize they're holding their breath, and how even those moments where you're, holding your breath unintentionally, you're not supporting your whole body's, thought systems. All of your internal systems get thrown off just by those small things.
And by the way, it's happening to us when we are asleep, and it's happening to us when we are awake.
We're awake. No, that's what I'm saying. When you're awake, you could be working on something and kind of like maybe pondering, and you take a breath and you hold it, and you don't remember to breathe.
Right.
I know that when I do yoga, that's one of the biggest complaints that my yoga instructors have always said to me is like I forget to breathe, like I'm holding a pose and I completely forget to let my breath out. So there's a lot of evidence now, I mean, that breathing in is
also with pain, right? Labor.
Yeah.
There's breathing techniques, right? Lamage, breathing technique. This is all, I mean, I never gave birth, but this is all really giving us the opportunity to appreciate the air, to appreciate the breathing. And I mean, there's so much. I mean, even let's say animals, right? So animals, when they are wounded in nature, they're doing two things. One is they find a place to ground themselves, to connect to the earth, because the earth has the free electrons, the antioxidant, the power of healing, which we already mentioned with the grounding, I believe. And the
Yes.
second thing they do is they hibernate, they go to sleep. Because when they go to sleep, those animals that are breathing even, right? Those animals that are breathing, they know naturally that the rhythm of breath while they're asleep is promoting healing in a faster way. And so the breathing, and when the animal is wounded, by the way, is the most vulnerable,
Right.
right? So they can protect themselves, so they know they need to go into a place, let's say, of hide, or, but they know, and it's time for us also to be awakened to that the healing is taking place in a faster way. I see it so many times also with my kids, right? That one of them might say that they don't feel good or have this that bothers them or this. And what do we say to them? We say, because you don't sleep enough, you need to sleep more, or you need to go to sleep earlier, because the sleep will help you to recover.
Yep.
So it's really amazing that the real secret behind sleep is actually the breathing.
Wow.
The breathing is the conduit for the good sleep.
So that's leading me to let's transition then and talk about, what we can be doing to enhance our breathing while we're sleeping, or to enhance the quality of the air. But also, as we talk about that, there's a lot, at least two things I can think of: snoring and sleep apnea, that is totally cutting into the quality and the quality of our breath and our breathing, and potentially the quality of the air that comes into us, into our room. So let's talk about, like, what can we do, Mordecai?
So a lot of times there are case studies, right? People go to a sleep lab to study the sleep. A big part of the sleep study is to study the breath of the individual. And so many times, let's say when we talk about, let's say, snoring, okay? What is snoring? Again, I'm not a doctor. I'm just saying from the little that I know, it's less air coming into the body or going out, which is also, that's what causes the sound. But the fact that there's less air coming in or less air coming out because of some narrowness, right, in the nose or in the throat, that means there's less air coming in, there's less oxygen coming in, and that's affecting the sleep. Even when you go to an oxygen bar, right, it feels so good. People pay,
right, just to have oxygen.
To have oxygen. Why? Yeah. Because if you have the proper level of oxygen, first of all, the proper level of oxygen in your blood, which is also very important for health and well-being. But when you have the proper level of oxygen coming in to your being when you're asleep, so many benefits. But above all the benefits of restoration and healing and nourishment and energy, it's giving the body the signal of being safe.
Right.
Being safe.
We've talked about that a lot.
And by the way, when people say they slept like a baby, many times they say, what do you mean you slept like a baby? Baby wakes up usually. The younger the baby is, the more they wake up. But I think that people refer that they slept like a baby to how the breathing was. If you look at a baby sleeping, there's a rhythm that doesn't change. Yeah. It's just beautiful. Just beautiful.
So what can we do?
That's snoring, right?
Yeah.
So and there's today there's different medical breakthroughs. There are devices that can be used for the individual. I don't want to promote one device or another, but there's so much progress with preventing snoring, which
Yes.
is beyond the peace and the love between the
The couple.
couple, right? Beyond that, it's really nourishing the individual. So
And also,
that's
I
when
mean,
it comes to snoring. Yeah.
well, I was going to say, but sleep apnea as well, with all of the research that's been done on sleep apnea and why it's so dangerous for your health, is because not only is your breath interrupted, is actually what causes you to wake up, is
Yeah.
that your breath is
People
interrupted
stop
as you're
breathing.
waking
Yeah.
up, because people stop breathing, and so they wake up a lot. And that waking up and that constant, I mean, and from what you've said, that disconnect, right? That signal going constantly to the soul saying, come back, come back, come back,
Yeah.
doesn't let the soul elevate. That's why the next day, on top of the physical impairments that people who have sleep apnea have to endure, is the metaphysical, because their soul hasn't been able to elevate to where it needs to get to, as we've talked about all these many weeks.
Now, let's touch this for a moment, the idea of sleep apnea, because I work with many people that come to the private sessions, the one-on-one sessions of the Art of Spiritual Sleep. And a lot of them, they want to receive messages and they want to send messages and want to do the spiritual walk while they're asleep. But then they also mark that they have sleep apnea.
Right.
Or they have insomnia, right? So I say before we go into the more advanced level of sending messages, receiving messages, first let's take care of the core level. A lot of people don't like the B word, which is basic. The word basic seems like, it's for beginners. I'm not a beginner. I'm like well advanced in my sleep, right? But really, when you go to the bottom of this, and this is very important for us to acknowledge, to understand that, and I hope I'm well understood with what I'm about to say, that the level of breath, why babies sleep like babies, right? Why it's so much the same pace, because they are so connected to their soul. So yes, there are people that have sleep apnea and they use a machine that actually supports them. And as I said before, I'm not a doctor. Whatever is needed, use it. Don't be now like smarter or spiritual more than others, so now you don't need that. I'm only suggesting that if we grow our connection to our soul during the day, and that can be used by applying during the day breathing techniques that can support, give a relief. And you know what? Maybe even in certain situations, completely eliminate the situation of the condition. I'm not saying that we are here to cure anything. I'm just saying, and this is a disclaimer, right? But I'm saying that really for us to understand that the sleep apnea or the snoring is something is not quiet in your connection, in your relationship with your soul. Something is not aligned. We all were babies. We all slept like babies, right? We had this time. So we need to remind our soul, we need to remind our consciousness, how does it feel like to be in touch? It's like two people that are married, and after so many years, unfortunately, it happens that with some couples, that it's like two roommates. They live in the same house, but there's energetical distance between the two. So in a similar way, I ask people, what's the most important relationship you have in your life? And some people say, it's my spouse. Some people say it's my kids. And some people say even it's the creator, the force of creation. And one of the things we forget that the Zohar, the main text of Kabbalah, is teaching us that we need to develop our connection, our relationship with our soul.
I think what you're saying,
And that's through breathing. One of the ways.
Right. I mean, and it's supported by thousands of years of meditation, you know, I mean, there's just so much evidence of it.
Much.
There's so much evidence, and but I want to highlight the fact that, not as a disclaimer, but just to say that, you know, we live in, and you've talked about this many times over many of our episodes, that, you know, there's the physical world and there's the metaphysical world. And we have to learn how to be in touch with both, right?
Right.
And so what you're saying is, what I'm hearing you say is that if you take the time, especially if you have a sleep challenge, I don't even want to call it a disorder, but a sleep challenge like sleep apnea or snoring.
Or sleep opportunity.
A sleep opportunity. If you have an opportunity to support yourself during the day to strengthen that physical connection, because if you practice breathing in a more focused way, again, many studies have shown that has huge effects on your body. And now what you're saying is if you practice that those breathing techniques during the day, it has huge impact on your soul. Then you still may need to use the machine, but maybe maybe you won't, or maybe you don't have, you know, like, or maybe there's other options. Like there's nothing negative about saying practice two different types of solutions.
Let's say I'll be shocked. Yeah, and I'll be shocked if someone shows me a proof that says there's no connection between the stress level, which is an implication, you know, of how much you're connected to your soul. Because the more we are connected to our soul, the more stress is out of the window, right?
Stress-free, yeah.
Yeah, stress-free. But I would be shocked if someone would show me a proof that there's no connection between stress and how you sleep well at night.
Right.
And how you breathe well at night.
Yeah. Okay, so just because we do this often, we love to talk. I just want to wrap up just some of the recommendations, because you mentioned a couple of things at the beginning of the episode. So in preparation for bed and having a better experience while you sleep with your breath, there are some things you can do. One is, you're saying, like maybe a diffuser or a humidifier or an air purifier.
So one is more external, right? Like to have a device, and you need to find whatever works for you. Air purifier, humidifier with, let's say, essential oils, or a diffuser with essential oils or without. Maybe you need more humidity. Maybe you need to go on this journey to really better your air quality. Now, if you live in an area that enjoys the benefit of fresh air, let's say you live in the mountains or you live by the ocean, and you can leave a window open without having particular noise that will interrupt you, or otherwise you can use an air purifier. Today, as part of the smart home technology, there are amazing devices. I'm not going to promote one or another, but there are amazing devices which you can even control with your phone, and that you can put in your bedroom. And they also tell you where to position it, how far from the bed to create the maximum effect. And you just breathe in fresh air. Today, there are even devices that you can put salt, let's say from the Dead Sea, combine it in the machine, and the machine, while you're asleep, puts in the room air that is salty, like you're sleeping on the beach.
It's amazing.
So find the device. I hope this is already awakening your curiosity, but find the device that really works the best for you, and invest in it. So that's in the physical element. of the air. The more energetical element is finding breathing techniques that you want to use that will benefit you the most. I think one of the most basic ones, and basic is not a bad word, is really to breathe in through the nose, through the diaphragm, right? That's the inhale. When you finish inhaling, you actually add a little bit more air through the nose. And you can see also that the belly goes up and rather than the lungs. And then you hold it a little bit and then you breathe out through the mouth. And when you finish breathing out, you also wait in a second before you inhale again. And that by itself is already switching you, elevating your consciousness to operate from a higher state. If you do it at least 2 minutes every time you're doing it, those 2 minutes, first of all, they promote healing, but more than everything, they relax the body, they relieve stress, and they elevate your consciousness. And if you manage, by the way, throughout the day to just listen to your breathing in a meeting, in a conversation, it's gonna have so much positive effect on you.
Being aware of your breath is a huge, like, if you can be aware of it a little bit more, it's such an amazing, magical. But
Because
I
you are being
also,
aware of the light within you.
exactly. And also I want to say, Mordechay, you've given this technique in another episode, I don't remember which one right now, but where you close your ears and you listen to your breath.
How come
And
you don't remember, Wendy? You don't remember? Season 2, episode 6. Very easy. No, I'm just joking. I
don't know. There's been 50 some odd episodes. I don't remember all of them.
Yes.
But no, I found that technique I use that you gave is a really, because when you hear your breath, you actually learn how to kind of calm it down and have it be more steady. So I found that that's also a really great technique that I like personally. All right. Anything else before we move on?
I think, these two aspects, external and internal, right?
Okay.
Physical device and
also,
breathing techniques.
And also practice during the day, not just before you go to bed, but be aware of it during the day. Okay, let's talk the language of dreams and the sleep symbol of the week. Guess what?
So the sleep symbol of the week is air or breathing, right? And it's very interesting because many times people use different expressions, right? Like, I need air, or I feel finally I have air. What do you mean? Like you had air before, right? And it's related to the idea of feeling you have the space to grow, the energy of freedom, the energy of feeling safe. So when someone dreams about, let's say, short of breath, right? So that is an indication, either a warning sign or pointing out to the individual that there's something in their life that they don't feel safe about.
Okay.
That they feel vulnerable, right? Like when someone feels they are in danger, they're holding the breath. It's part of the mechanism of protection. I mean, imagine like someone in the middle of, I'm just giving an example, right? Like a boxing ring, applying a breathing technique. It's not the time, you need to punch, you need to defend yourself, you need to attack, right? It's not the time like breathe in, breathe out. Also try to, let's say, do jogging, run, and do the breathing technique. Not possible. Not possible. Right. You have to supply greater levels of oxygen. So the breath in a dream is associated with feeling safe, with feeling secured. And if someone is short of breath, that's an indication that there's something in their life that they really feel insecure about.
Okay.
not feeling safe enough.
So is
If
that
someone
short
has
of
a
it?
lot of air, right? Like, or they're in a place that they can feel the air, that's like great opportunities for freedom and going to the next level. And going to the next level of spirituality. If someone feels they're drowning or they're suffocating, meaning they're losing air, it can either be a warning sign or pointing out to look inside and to see where am I not enough aligned with my soul? Where am I not investing enough in my soul? That I really need to go inside and start make the most important relationship. I mean,
Even stronger.
even stronger, yeah. But when I
Okay.
say the most important is coming aligned together with our relationship with the force of creation. It's two that go together. It's not like just be connected to your soul, because your soul is part of the force of creation.
Okay. Great.
Yeah.
And something to sleep on?
So something to sleep on, simply to apply what we shared today externally, physically, if you need a device or
Open a
yeah,
window or
humidifier, air purifier, open a window, diffuser with essential oils. Find what works the best, the most powerful effect for you when you're asleep. And of course, if you want to add this, maybe there's also like great ones. There are great ones for during the day, at your office, at your home, wherever you are. So
and we
that's
would
in
love
externally and internally to find a breathing technique that you can use during the day and especially before you go to sleep. I use
yeah.
this special, very basic breathing technique just before I take off, and it's just beautiful.
I was going to say, and if you have any breathing techniques that you would like to share with the group, please do. We love getting your comments,
Yeah,
about all of the techniques that we're giving to see how you feel about them and if they're impacting your sleep and dreams. So please, and you may have a technique that others would like. So we really encourage you to share. All right, that's it for us this week. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much, Mordecai, for all of the
thank
insights
you,
about
Wendy.
breath and air and how it affects your sleep. If you do want to make comments or ask questions, you can find us on all of your favorite social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. We really do check out the comments during the week. I got a really good one this week about somebody who decided to take a shower at 1 in the morning before she went to sleep based off our last episode, and we love to hear those things. So please do
Beautiful.
share
Thank
with
you
us.
for sharing. Yes.
We're on all of those platforms at The Art of Spiritual Sleep. We're also on all of your favorite podcast platforms. And if you're interested in a dream interpretation with Mordecai, you can email him at dreams@kabbalah.com. Or if you would like to explore the possibility of working one-on-one with Mordecai to elevate and evolve your sleep and dreams, you can reach him at artofspiritualsleep@kabbalah.com. And again, we love it when you share so that every single person in this world has the opportunity to have better sleep and better dreams. And when you do that, we promise you your sleep and dreams actually do get better. And we are living proof of that because we're very grateful to all of you who are listening. So thank
Thank
you,
you.
and we will see you next week.
Thank you. Good night.
Sleep well.